Ken, you know we're rolling.
Oh, hey, hi everybody, my name's Ken, Upscale Audio Sales Manager. I don't know if you knew this, but we sell hi-fi books, and this one is just amazing. Check that out on our website. That's not why we're here today. We're here for the Technics SU-R1000, and right beside it I have its little brother. This is the G700M2. This one's $28.99, this one's $9.99 or $9,999, and this is amazing. We talk about amazing here a lot, and I got to tell you, there's so much going on, I could do an hour-long video. But Technics is the hi-fi branch of Panasonic. Panasonic was started in 1918. The founder, Matsushita, started by building radios. And in 1931, he committed to building a quality radio because a radio he was listening to failed when it was about to start his favorite program. Ever since then, unlike many other brands that we see in the hi-fi business today, brands like Nakamichi, Marantz, Macintosh, Bauer & Wilkins, Mark Levinson, JBL, these brands have been bought and sold. And I'm not trying to insinuate that that delineates their lineage, but this has always been Panasonic Hi-Fi, and it has a great history. So stay tuned. At the end of the video, I'm going to give away my shirt. All right, the SU-R1000 is a complete digital amp. It was released in the end of 2020, and what's interesting is some audio equipment gets a lot of excitement when it's first released. This has been a piece of equipment that has built on a solid foundation, a real following, and I'm seeing more and more people asking questions about it. They're selling more. This is building a real groundswell following because of the technology, because of all of the features that are packed in here. But what's the best thing about this is the way it sounds. So let's talk about a little bit the features. Let's talk a little bit about the technology, but that's not really the heart and soul of the way it sounds. It's got A and B speaker outputs. These can be switched on and off separately. It has moving magnet and moving coil phono inputs. It has a unique balanced moving coil phono input, and we'll talk more about the phono inputs later. It has multiple digital inputs that keeps the digital signal in the digital domain right through into the output devices. At 150 watts into 8 ohms, 300 watts into 4 ohms, and when John Atkinson of Stereophile tested this, he got 190 watts into 8 ohms, 355 watts into 4 ohms. That's a lot of power. It's a powerhouse that way. So let's talk about some of the unique features here. The LAPC. The LAPC is a feature that gets feedback from the speakers when you go through a setting that right up here, you'll set up a setting. It uses the remote control. It analyzes the speakers to better utilize the power of this unit to control the speakers. Speakers' phase and impedance changes over the frequency range. By measuring the electromagnetic pushback, say as a woofer moves back and forth, it's a motor and a generator at the same time, and this kickback, so to speak, can affect the way they sound and perform. By analyzing that kickback and correcting for it, we get a much more accurate representation. It has a unique digital correction of distortion. It analyzes the signal right at the output, corrects it, sends that back to the input, and that is removing any distortion that happens in the amplifier. What's unique about this too is as a digital amplifier, it doesn't have a traditional DAC chip. There's not an ESS, there's not an AKM, there's no Sabre chip. It doesn't have a field programmable gate array, which are sometimes substituted for DAC chips. It takes an incoming signal. Let's say you're listening to Cobuzz. You have a 192K signal. It upsamples that PCM to 768 kilohertz, very high frequency. It uses an internal oscillator to prevent jitter. This jitter reduction is called Geno engine. So the digital Geno engine is jitter elimination and noise shaping optimization. It takes the upsampled 768 kilohertz PCM digital signal, converts it to a PWM 768 frequency, and that signal drives the GaN FET output devices. GaN FET stands for Gallium Nitride field effect transistors. These are becoming more and more used in everything we see in our modern lives, from fast charging devices, robotic motors, medical equipment, drones, satellites, solar inverters. GaN FET devices are extremely efficient. They're very high speed and they're very low heat, but they can tolerate high heat in difficult environments. One of the ways we help improve the fidelity of a piece of equipment like this, or what Panasonic implements in this Technics amplifier. There are 5 power supplies. There's a power supply for the analog preamp and the analog input section. There's a power supply for the digital preamp and the digital conversion section. And then there are separate power supplies for the left and right power out, or the power devices. So we've got 4 separate power supplies that collectively prevent noise. They prevent anything like saturation, and we just get a cleaner, better output. So I've saved the best for last as part of the technology. The phonograph stage is amazing, and they call it an intelligent phono EQ. What is unique is there is a calibration record. So every unit comes with its own calibration record. That calibration record, you play that on your turntable, and it's analyzing the output to of the cartridge and compares it to what it knows it should be, and any variations to that are corrected for. It corrects the EQ curve, so there's many different phonograph EQ curves, the most popular being RIAA, and it can ensure accuracy to that phono EQ curve. Also, in addition to optimizing the response and the EQ curve, it measures crosstalk. Crosstalk is when we get a little bit of leak from the left channel into the right or the right channel into the left. And this can happen in phonograph cartridges because in the groove we have information on the left side of the groove for the left channel, information on the right side of the groove to the right channel, and sometimes that information, when you have that stylus physically moving, it can have movement from both sides at the same time, and this is crosstalk. It is able to nullify and eliminate the crosstalk. One of the things I like best about this amplifier, though, forget all this technology for a minute. It's just the way it sounds. It's exceptionally clean, very articulate, nicely detailed. Many amplifiers can come close to that, but sometimes they can become thin and brittle or harsh. That leads to fatigue. In addition to that, with lots of power, and power that, remember we talked about the separate power transformers, power that can react. So when a snap happens, bam, it's aggressive and it reacts fast. And when that woofer moves fast, it has that LAPC circuit to properly control it for a very quick rebound. This leads to punch and dynamics. It's one of the things I love about this amplifier. In addition to the way it sounds, I want to talk about how it sounds on some of the different speakers. Here's some of the speakers that we tried it with. We tried it with the Klipsch Scala. If you haven't yet watched Kevin's video on the Klipsch Scala, you really need to look at that. And when we tried this with the Klipsch Scala, one of the things that really benefited from this is such a very, very quiet amp. Details and very intricate details are easily revealed. The Klipsch Scala is very, very sensitive. As I recall, it's 105 dB sensitive. If there's noise, if there is smearing, that La Scala is going to let you know. This was one of the better amplifiers that we've heard without spending at least twice the money for that Klipsch Scala. The Fine Audio Vintage 10, that's the first speaker we tried on this, and it came out amazing. In fact, when Jordan hooked it up and was playing it, he came and grabbed me and said, "Man, you got to hear this. We're pulling people off away from their desk. You know, I don't care what you're doing. Come listen to music." Also from Fine Audio, the F502SP. The F502SP is a more affordable speaker in their line, and it really brought that speaker to life. A speaker brand we sell a lot of, the Focal brand, the Cantas, the Sopras. The Sopra 3 was a standout with this amplifier. Some of the music we listened to, remember I said Jordan brought me into the room. He was playing that Heartbeat on Dark Side of the Moon. The track is called Speak to Me. I can't imagine somebody who listens to rock and roll or is an audiophile that doesn't know this Heartbeat track. That Heartbeat track took on a new visceral, lower in frequency, guttural effect. It was very revealing and almost scary in a stunning sort of way. What I liked that revealed such a very huge, deep soundstage way behind the speakers into the next room, a track called Shine by Mondo Cosmo on their album Plastic Soul. Delineating voices, I listened to a song I love. It's called Nearer, My God, to Thee, and this time I listened to it sung by BYU Vocal Point, and it's an a cappella. The voices were well delineated, separated, individualized, placed in a sound stage in a way that was very enjoyable to listen to. So what's the conclusion? You know, just playing with it like this volume knob, the aesthetics, it's gorgeous. The build quality is second to none. I loved more than anything, all of this fancy technology boils down to really how does it sound. And it has a unique sound. It's not like other amplifiers. It's powerful, it is revealing, and my final thought is don't get lost in the specs, don't get lost in the technology. Features of this let the speakers play like I wanted to hear them. So just listen. Okay, let's give a shirt away. We thank you for listening long enough. Here it is. Oh, right side up. The shirt I'm wearing, this is a size large. If you're not a large, maybe you can find a friend that is. In 1992, Technics delivered one of their most beautiful amplifiers, and you'll see much of the same design technology, the design aesthetic in this amplifier, especially with the VU meters. It was 175 watts a channel. First person to put that model number in the comments, I'm going to send them a shirt. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Upscale Audio, we're going to treat your system like it's our system. Text, chat, call, let us help you out.